You are about to enter Gigi's world.
Hello and welcome back to the Gigi Naturals Homestead channel. So on today's video, as you can see, we're in the kitchen and our friend Lydia over at Best Yet Journey stirred off her spoon to me to make a soup. Hers looked so delicious. So I want to take you guys out to the garden with me for a few moments to grab some fresh herbs. And then we're going to get into what I put into making my Angus beef soup. So how about we take one sprig of this fresh rosemary, just a small bit of sage, a little bit of basil. I think it would give it just the right kick, and a small piece of oregano. And because most of the members in my family love a little spice, we're gonna take a couple of cayenne peppers. Look how beautiful that is. A couple of nice red cayenne peppers, and I think that's all we'll need for a little spice to kick it up a notch. So let's take a moment to go over all of the ingredients in my soup. So I start with the red onion that I will chop. I have some mixed bell peppers, and of course I had to have a bell pepper from my own garden as well. Some cayenne peppers here to give the soup a little bit of a kick that my family so loves. Some red peppers that also came from my garden. You can use these to snack as well as cook with. And we have some fresh herbs. I was able to find some time at my favorite store to go shop at for groceries. So I included a small piece of that thyme. This is very, very pungent. So as with all of the other garden herbs that we use, they're very pungent. So there's no need to use a whole lot of them. This rosemary will definitely give a nice kick to our soup, along with some sage from the garden and also some oregano. And the beef that I decided to use is this Angus beef. There were actually some leftovers, so I'm just gonna make good use of them and make them the base around this soup. And let's certainly not forget our pink Himalayan sea salt. And these tomatoes that I found at Aldi. Because I don't like mushy broccoli, I am going to be adding this fresh head of broccoli at the end once the soup is actually done. And every time I'm making soup, I kind of rough chop my vegetables. I don't go into doing a lot of really fine chopping. That's just my preference. I want the soup to feel really, really hearty because this is something that we eat in the fall and the winter months. I actually have canned this soup before. This time I'm adding some extra goodies to the soup that definitely give a nice kick to the soup. Of course, every time I chop a bell pepper, every time I take a bell pepper from my garden, I am going to take these seeds and I'm going to set them off to the side, and we're going to have bell pepper seeds forever. And for these red peppers, I just remove the stem because they have a little bit of a sweet taste to them. They are delicious eaten alone, as well as popping them into a stir fry or some other like really tasty meal. So this will be my first time adding them to soup. So we'll see how it turns out. Knowing everything we do, we're seed saving. So I'm just gonna pull the center out of these. I'm not concerned with trying to get every single seed, but definitely the vast majority, they're gonna go onto a paper towel and be dried for planting next spring season. So I've got the Angus beef added to the pot. While my meat is cooking, I like to go ahead and add the pink Himalayan. This is roughly 2 tablespoons of pink Himalayan. And I also like to add my veggies at this point. Because I definitely want the flavor of these fresh vegetables to touch that meat, to really get into that meat and give it a fantastic flavor. One of my new favorite ingredients to add to just about everything when I'm stir frying and cooking is fennel seed. And so, but you have to know that you literally have to sprinkle just like that. If you add too much, it is overpowering. So I want it to be a nice complement and not to overpower my soup. So a couple of fennel seeds does it just right. I'm going to take a couple of quarts of water to pour over into the soup. I'm just going to fill this all the way up to the top of this saucepan. I was so excited about these fresh ingredients, I almost forgot to add my tomatoes. So I'm going to add 3 cans. See how nice and hearty that is? So I'm going to turn this down to low and I'm going to allow it to simmer. And let's definitely not forget to add our fresh herbs. So I'm going to turn this down to low and I'm going to allow it to just simmer. Roughly 2 hours in. So I'm going to stir this off to Tiana, I Can Only Be Me. Here's the finished product of our hearty Angus beef soup, and let me tell you, it is delicious.